I'll watch for her if she comes. If not, I'll just keep moving.
Win the game for us. I had to follow. And if you're kind of like, I was going to get it. But listen.
Hey, how you doing? Good time. At this time, we'll call our meeting to order, and I will ask that we all stand for our invocation and pledge of allegiance. As we have entered into a new year's, we thank you. We thank you, great Creator, for allowing us to see this day. We also thank you for those who you gave life who are not here with us at this time, for we know they have completed their journey. We ask that you be within this meeting today, because you're all-knowing. We hope that all that we do will be pleasing in your sight. We open our hearts and our mind to receive of you, because we only want what's best for the whole of the city, that we may be better neighbors to all those around us. So we ask that you come forward, that thy will be done for honor, for glory, not for self-pleasure, not for self-glorification, but for magnification of love and unity for all. Once again, we thank you for a new precious day. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, Council, we have before us approval of our minutes from December the 11th, 2023 regular meeting. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second? Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. Council, before we enter into our appearance before Council, if there's no objection, I would like to move resolution number 2024-01, resolution 2024-02, and resolution number 2024-03 to come right before our appearance before Council, if there's no objections. None. Hearing none, we are proceeding to resolution. First, we have resolution number 2024-01, a resolution recognizing Mr. Larry Hill. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
You have a motion and a second. Any discussing? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, like sign. Let it reflect that the resolution has passed. Mr. Davis, will you read that resolution for us, please?
Sir. Resolution number 2024-01, a resolution of recognition for Larry Hill. Whereas originally from Virginia, Mr. Larry Hill has become a longtime resident of Florence County. And whereas in his career as a logistics division manager, Mr. Hill was left with little time for extracurricular activities. It was in his retirement that he developed a great interest in local community matters. And whereas Mr. Hill has a if not me, then who mentality, and is driven by his desire to promote positive change in the community. And whereas recognizing the importance of being involved and informed Mr. Hill frequently attends many local legislative meetings such as the Florence City Council, Florence County Council, and the Florence School District 1 Board. And whereas Mr. Hill's involvement in many aspects of the community is remarkably noteworthy. He is the chairman of the Leatherman Senior Center Board, second vice chair and treasurer of the Florence County Republican Party, regional captain for the Convention of States, and is a volunteer at McLeod Regional Hospital. And whereas Mr. Hill is a champion for the community and his continued involvement in local affairs is sure to positively impact the future of Florence. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the City Council of the City of Florence does hereby recognize Mr. Larry Hill for his committed service and dedication to the community. Resolved this 8th day of January 2024.
At this time, I'm going to ask Mr. Hill to please come forward here, and I will ask that Councilman McCall and Councilman Braddock please go forward to present the resolution. And Mr. Hill, after you receive your resolution, you're welcome to go forward and say a word. You're welcome.
I'll keep it simple. This means a lot. Thank you. And Florence is a great place to live.
Thank you, Mr. Hill. Next, we have before us resolution number 2024-02, a resolution of recognitions of the 8U football state champion. Do we have a motion?
Seconded.
Motion. We have a motion and 2 seconds then. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, this time, Mr. Davis, will you please read the resolution?
Yes, ma'am. Resolution number 2024-02, a resolution of recognition for the Florence Junior Football League 8U All-Star Team for winning the South Carolina Recreation and Parks Association State Championship. Whereas the Florence Junior Football League 8 and under All-Star Team competed in the state tournament, winning the South Carolina Recreation and Parks Association State Crown, and whereas led by head coach Corey Morrison, the 8 under All-Star football team tackled their competition in the tournament, defeating Lakeview, Timmonsville, Darlington, and North Strand to earn their spot in the state championship game. And whereas the 8U All-Star football team faced their final opponent on December 9th, 2023 at West Florence High School, defeating Chester to win the state championship title. And whereas through hard work and determination, these athletes have proven themselves state champions and are a role model for area youth. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Florence, South Carolina commends this athletic accomplishment and congratulates the Florence Junior Football League 8 under All-Star team for winning the South Carolina Recreation and Parks Association State Championship. Resolves this 8th day of January 2024.
At this time, we're going to ask that the youth come forward, and I will ask that Councilman McCall join me in the front to present their certificates.
I love it. I love it. Ladies, those tall guys on the end. Get those tall guys.
Is that big enough now?
gentlemen, what we're going to do is Mr. Davis will call out your name, and we'll have certificates for you. And what we'll ask you, when you hear your name, please come forward so we can present you your certificate, okay? Yeah, you're going to come.
Isaiah Lyde. McCody Burgess. Landon Charles. Zahir Gaskins. Drew Gore. Kingston Hines. Braylon Howard. Braylon Jett. Jameson Smith. Caden Wells. Christopher Williams. Major Green. John Sherlaw. Jonathan Gregg. Lincoln Campana. Kamaj Hines. Zayden Jackson. Braden Pegasus. Pegasus. Lathan Price. Jeremiah Fulmore. Shaquez McCall. Lorenzo Tony Jr. Brandon King. Darrell White Jr. Carter Cato. We have coaches, Corey Morrison, head coach. Assistant Head Coach Jay Charles.
Great job, you know, fellas.
Assistant Coach Daryl Gaskins. Assistant Coach Greg White. Assistant Coach Kervin James.
Greetings. First, just want to say thank you to the City of Florence, board members of City of Florence for football, for welcoming us and honoring us as these young men went out and battled and did an awesome thing this year by staying together, playing together as a team, competing, and most of all, having fun. And to see the growth in these young men and what they did this year. Some of them are two-time champions with basketball and now football. Some of them are first-year champions. But the goal was to get better. The goal was to achieve on the goal that we started on last year, which we put out in the second round last year. But this year we go all the way to Lower State and win the state right here in Florence, at West Florence, which made it even sweeter. Mm-hmm. So we just say thank you for honoring us. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to work with these young men, to mentor them, and teach them how to be young men to grow up in our society and community. Thank you.
And on that, do any of these? All right. Congratulations, gentlemen.
Congratulations.
On your success.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Oh, he said when we get our rings. he want a ring.
Oh, really? That's so cool. Yeah, so cool.
And as they're exiting, also to the parents, congratulations, because I know that it requires a lot of you as well. So congratulations and thank y'all for the support you give to the young people. And we'll give them a moment as they leave. At this time, we will proceed with resolution number 2024-03, is a resolution recognizes Ms. Ida Mae Flute Davis. Do we have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And we'll have Mr. Davis read the resolution.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution number 2024-03 reads, whereas Ms. Ida Mae Flute Davis was born on July 12, 1927, and is the second oldest of 9 children. And whereas, as a lifelong Florence County resident, Ms. Davis attended Palmetto Elementary School and graduated from Wilson High School in 1947. And whereas, driven by her desire to take care of others, Ms. Davis began nursing training in 1951 and became one of the first black women to complete the licensed practical nurse training in Florence. And whereas, having just earned her LPN, Ms. Davis began her career at Saunders Memorial Hospital, later renamed Florence General Hospital, where she worked until 1982 and then worked at Presbyterian Nursing Home for 10 years until her retirement in 1992. And whereas Ms. Davis married Charlie Davis Sr. in 1950 and is the proud mother of Charlie Jr. and Dwight, grandmother of Crystal Davis and Latrice Kelly, and great-grandmother of Landon Kelly. And whereas not only was Miss Davis the ultimate caregiver for many members of her family, she also cared for numerous foster children for 8 years. And whereas Miss Ida Mae Flute Davis was known for a kind and nurturing demeanor, she's dedicated her life to taking care of her family and others, and her compassion for others is truly inspiring. Now therefore be it resolved, the City Council of the City of Florence does hereby recognize Miss Ida Mae Flute Davis for her contributions to the community and for being an inspiration to all residents of the City of Florence. Resolved this 8th day of January 2024.
Thank you, Scotty. And I do want to acknowledge that Ms. Davis is not here today, but you're probably familiar with her sister. Her sister is actually Ms. Vermel Hendrick, who's the president of the Northwest Association. Actually, over the Christmas event holiday, I was speaking with Ms. Hendrick, and she was telling me about the various things that her sister did. She's actually active still at 96 years old, doing her yard care and everything else. And I was not aware that Ms. Hendrick was telling me that Ms. Davis actually served as pretty well the midwife for the community. She delivered a lot of babies in the community. She took care of a lot of people who were sick. She was really that nurse practitioner before the nurse practitioner was even designed. So I want to be sure that we recognize her, but you know, the age, sometimes they could be here, could not. But I just want to be sure that we recognized her. And once again, she actually lives in the original historical West Florence area across from her sister. So to Ms. Davis, I would like to say from one nurse to another nurse, thank you for all that you've done, even when there are times when you did not even have the equipment to do what you did. And to still be living now is a blessing. So thank you for the reading of that. At this time, we'll go back to our agenda and come back to appearance before council. And I will ask that each member who present to us, and we have one presenter today, please limit your presentation to 5 minutes in accordance to our City of Florence Code Ordinance Section 2-24. So we have coming before us today Ms. Suzanne LaRochelle to speak to the council on community safety. Ms. LaRochelle, will you please come forward?
Good afternoon, Mayor,
Good afternoon.
council members, community members. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
I will do my best to have this be under 5 minutes. I did not time it, though. On the morning of November 18th last year, I went outside to get in my vehicle and noticed that my decades-old concrete Buddha statue was missing from my front yard. Throughout the day, I wondered why someone had chosen to steal this very heavy statue. It had been there for as long as I have lived in Florence. To me, it was an old, inanimate friend I saw multiple times a day, reminding me of my daily intention to practice kindness and compassion towards whomever I encounter throughout the day. I wondered, what was their intention? Why did they steal this Buddha statue? What did it mean to them? Was it an act of juvenile vandalism? A means to a few dollars? Or possibly a hate crime, motivated by an assumption that a statue of the Buddha signified my religion? If true, this theft may have been considered a hate crime in every state in the United States except South Carolina and Wyoming. At that time, during that day, due to the recent terrorist attack motivated by the hate of Hamas to our Jewish community, my heart was very heavy. I had received 2 phone calls One from Massachusetts, a lifelong childhood Jewish friend, sobbing because of the attack in Israel. The other one from a local Jewish friend here in Florence. Suzanne, what can we do? I'm scared. My heart was very heavy. My psyche was reeling to comprehend the dire consequences of hate, and my intellect digging deep to find a solution to these hateful tragedies. Specifically, the rise of white supremacy and domestic terrorism in the United States of America. This is why I'm compelled to speak to you today. I am asking the City Council for help. I want the City of Florence to take action, to be part of the solution. Last November, over Thanksgiving weekend, approximately 50 miles from Florence in Conway, a white couple allegedly harassed their black neighbors with verbal and online threats, culminating in the couple burning a cross in their neighbor's yard, 50 miles from here. We all know that since the early 20th century, the Klan burned crosses on hillsides as a way to intimidate and threaten Black Americans and other marginalized groups. Today, the FBI is investigating this event in Conway. Brenda Murphy, president of the South Carolina NAACP, stated a couple weeks ago, Black South Carolinians have endured the indignity of a racially divisive society for far too long, and this is appalling that in 2023 we still have such hateful rhetoric and cross burnings. I believe to be a part of the solution, the City of Florence needs to propose a hate crime ordinance. By doing so, we would be joining the cities of Conway and Myrtle Beach, who are in the process of this ordinance, of developing the ordinance, as well as the cities of Bluffton, Charleston, Chester, Greenville, and Mount Pleasant. They all have passed hate crime ordinances. They have done this given the failure of the state of South Carolina legislature to pass the Clementa C. Pinckney Hate Crimes Act. I know that our city is capable of writing a hate crimes ordinance. I'm looking at you, Attorney McCall, and I bet we can unanimously pass it. I'd like to share a little bit of history about the Hate Crimes Bill, or the Hate Crimes Act, and why now it is up to each municipality to do something because the state of South Carolina has refused to. In 2015, after a white supremacist massacred 9 black parishioners during their Bible study at Charleston Historic Emmanuel AME Church, Senator Gilliard began pushing for hate crimes legislation. On two occasions, the bill went in front of the Senate. And because I only have 2 minutes, I'm going to scrap my notes. In 22, 5 senators in the state of South Carolina objected to holding a vote. It had passed the House. One of those senators, it's noteworthy to say, is from Florence. Senator Mike Reckenbach refused to pass the hate crimes bill. It was his first vote. Last year, it came up again. The Senate would not even allow it to go onto the floor. Senator Massey, he's the head of the Senate in South Carolina, he said that the Republicans in the Senate are not interested in hearing this act. The senator from Charleston, who lives in the AME district, he went on the floor and he protested and he said, guys, you can spend 30 minutes arguing about dump trucks, but you will not come and argue and debate us about a hate crimes bill? They refused. And because of this refusal, municipalities across the state are developing their own ordinances. They're passing unanimously, and this is what I am asking your help with. I believe we can do this. I have copies here for your attention of the ordinance that most of the cities are using. It's the ordinance that was first developed in Charleston. I would like us to do something. I've always wanted to be a part of the solution and not a part of the problem.
Thank you, Ms. LaRochelle. We will take the information and gladly review it and see how to proceed at the will of the council. So thank you for bringing the issue forth. But also, thank you for bringing part of the solution to us as well. Do any of the councils have any questions? If not, thank you, Ms. LaRochelle. We appreciate it. At this time, that concludes our appearances before council, and we will move into our ordinance in position. First, we have Bill number 2023-43 for a second reading. It's an ordinance to approve text amendments to the Jeffers Creek Overlay District and flood prevention section of the City of Florence Unified Development Ordinance. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
They refer the bill has passed second reading. Next, we are entering into introduction of ordinance. It's a bill number 2023-42 for first reading. It's an ordinance to rezone 1110 Oakland Avenue from NC-6.1 to NC 6.3, identified as Florence County Tax Map number 90114-08-004. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a motion? Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. So at this time, we'll hear from Mr. Moore.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. This is the same matter that was brought to you last month regarding the rezoning on Oakland Avenue. It would be rezoning the property from NC 6.1 to NC 6.3. At last month's meeting, it was deferred to this month in order for the applicant to meet with the neighborhood and have discussions with them. That way we could move forward with the decision at this month's meeting.
Any questions?
Did that meeting happen?
Chair
Yes,
recognizes Councilman Braddock.
Yes, it happened last Thursday.
All right, what was the update from that meeting? Mr. Moore, were you there?
Yes, ma'am.
What was the update?
The applicant presented her plan for the redevelopment on the property. There was some concern regarding the size, dimension, various other development standards. At this time, again, we certainly try to emphasize this, that this is not a review of the project. It is the zoning. So it would permit the rezoning needs to be looked at as far as what potential uses could be there, whether it be the townhomes, duplexes, and single family, of course, could continue to be allowed there. Once the rezoning occurs, if it is approved, at that time the applicant would then submit their plan and city staff would review for meeting the code as far as setbacks, the number of units that could be placed on the property, all those various different development standards.
Any other questions? Chair recognizes Councilman Debater.
The Oakland Avenue vista, that stretch, is very significant and historic and has a character about it that is noteworthy. It is of concern to me that there is a potential domino effect that could occur. That if you take one property and rezone it, that subsequent properties could then have someone who owns a house or maybe has a house and it's a rental or whatever, could then in turn do the same thing, and you can end up with what in effect could be a net spot zoning approach that could occur along that corridor. And while I'm a huge fan of development and I love to see people who want to invest in our community, I've been pretty consistent where other matters have come up in the past where there has been a existing zoning in a residential area, and that's primarily what we're talking about is residential area, where there's been consistent zoning in that residential area, and now a developer wants to come in and change the zoning. Without seeing detailed plans, and I understand that the zoning comes first, I hear you, I hear you loud and clear, but what happens is we only have one bite at the apple up here. We only have one shot, because once the decision has been made to change the zoning, then the developer gets to do whatever they want once that zoning has been done. Maybe they present something and it follows through, and maybe they don't. Maybe they can say, you know what, we changed our mind. But we don't have an opportunity then to go back, well, wait a minute, you came to us with one thing and now you're coming back with another. So, I mean, I would need to see detailed plans that's committed to consider it. At this point in time, I'm just very concerned, as I've been in other matters along where it's been similarly presented to us, that we are opening up a can of worms and affecting a very historic neighborhood. And, you know, regardless of where in the residential areas we're talking about, when you inject something like this, a zoning change, because we went about very comprehensive developing the UDO, and the UDO is our friend here on the city of Florence. So for those reasons, I am not comfortable with it. If the developer would like to give us a detailed proposal for us to consider that's committed to, I'd certainly be willing to take a look at it at the next meeting. So I'll move to defer just to give the developer an opportunity, but I am not a fan of this type of development. So I move to defer.
We have a motion to defer. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second to defer. Any discussion with that motion? Hearing none. All those in favor in the deferral, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And opposed, like sign.
Nay.
So let's do this. The ones, how many nays did we have? Two. So we had 2 nays. So with that being said, the item will be deferred. Thank you, Council. Next, we have Bill number 2024-01 for first reading. It's an ordinance to annex and join Neighborhood Conservation 15, NC 15-233 North Lakewood Drive, Florence County, Texas, map parcel number 90008-01-003. Do we have a motion?
So moved. Second it.
We have a motion and a second. We'll hear from Mr. Moore at this time.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. This is a request to zone NC 15 pending the annexation for the property located at 233 North Lakewood Drive. This is what we often would call a donut hole, an infill annexation within this neighborhood.
That's a good thing.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
It is.
So the neighborhood is zone NC 15. And again, the future land use is neighborhood conservation. This is a photo of the home. And this concludes staff's report.
You've heard Mr. Moore report. Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. And opposed, like sign. Let it reflect the bill has passed first reading. Next, we have bill number 2024-02 for first reading. It's an ordinance to convey a portion of the West Vista Street right of way to South Carolina Department of Transportation, specifically 50 feet west from the intersection of West Vista Street and North Irving Street. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
And
Second it.
we have a motion and a second. We'll hear from Mr. Moore at this time.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. This is a request by the South Carolina Department of Transportation and Florence One Schools to transfer a portion of the city's right-of-way to SCDOT. So currently Currently, the city of Florence is responsible for the portion of West Vista from Irby Street, which is located here, west towards Williams Middle School, and as part of the North Vista Elementary and the new middle school, its development, the school district and SCDOT will be installing a new traffic signal here. And in order for them to make those improvements, they need some of their right-of-way to place some of that associated infrastructure. And this is what that request is for. So it's approximately 50 feet. The right-of-way there is around 66 feet wide, and we would just simply be transferring 50 feet of that right-of-way over to DOT and their maintenance.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Any discussion?
This is a little bit closer of them.
Hearing that, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. Thank you. Let it reflect that the bill has passed first reading. Thank you, Mr. Moore. So next we have resolution number 2024-04. It's a resolution to approve a conditional grant and development agreement for the development of located within the downtown central district. But this item will be discussed in executive session for more information. Next, we will proceed to report to councils. We'll have appointments to boards and commissions. And for that, we have Mr. Davis.
Thank you, Mayor. We have 2 boards that have vacancies or expired terms. Our first board is our Design Review Board. There's 1 expired term on that. The requirement is that the applicant is a commercial general contractor. Seeking reappointment is Cal Gunter. This falls to Councilwoman Neesmith Jackson.
We're going to defer it this time. We don't have any new applicants.
No new applicants.
Okay. All right. So at this time, the councilwoman is deferring. Next, we will have.
Our next board is our Housing Authority. There is 1 vacancy on the Housing Authority Board. The applicant must either reside in the city or have a business or work in the city. We have about 13 applicants on that, and this falls to Councilman Braddock.
Chair recognizes Councilman Braddock.
I need 1 more month, so I want to defer working through some of those applications.
All right. Thank you, Council.
That concludes staff's report.
All right, thank you so much. Next, we'll move to our reports. And at this time, as one of the significant things for today for me is that today will be the final meeting for our present city manager, Mr. Randy Osterman. I'm going to ask Mr. Osterman please to come forward. Let's give a handshake to him and thank him for his service that he provided for us for these years.
Speech, Randy.
As y'all know, Randy's always Mr. Shy, tried to avoid cameras and everything else, but
Casey wrote a nice little speech for me, but I think I'll pass on that one. So, she got nervous, I think. No, it's been a fun 4 years. I enjoyed most of it. And honestly, said I enjoyed it all right. Never had the intention of being city manager. Thought I'd be fire chief and leave. Not sure how it all came about, but hopefully I've done a little bit of good for the community, and I really wish the city great luck in the future. And with that staff, you're headed in the right direction. So thank y'all very much.
thank you.
Excuse me,
The chair recognizes Councilman Jabez.
So, what I think a lot of people, certainly all of us, and council members as well as our staff know this, but for the community, it's important to understand that Randy had the fortune, whether you call good fortune or misfortune, of becoming city manager right during COVID. And so, welcome to being city manager, now deal with COVID. And it was a very, very, very challenging time, and it took a steady hand at the helm to navigate, negotiate all of that with the city employees that no longer were on the part of our city staff that have to staff back up, as well as to have to deal with all of the financial, because what was that I heard every time we talked about something? Well, the price has gone up if we can get it. If we can get it, which is now going to be 9 months, 2 years away, the price is now a third more or a half more than it was. So very, very challenging circumstances that you were thrown into, and you handled those issues so well, and you have our deepest gratitude for the way that you negotiated that, handled that, and I just want to say personally, thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much.
I'll say something.
Well, since it's the mayor report, I'm going to do a
Oh,
report,
it's
and I'm
the
going to ask
report.
everyone else to give all greetings afterwards. But I really want to take this moment to bring Randy forth, because I think everyone pretty well know that Randy works hard, but he likes to work behind the scenes. If you get a camera, he's going to disappear on you. So I had to be sure to take my mayor's report time to present him, because he would have gladly have just slide through and not have anyone to know this. But I want to take this moment to bring him forth, because he works hard, and he works hard to always try to create a respectful balance. He's been handed a lot of things, but he's worked hard to create that connection with us. And some things he's literally had to say no, and I'm glad he was able to firmly be able to say no, but I believe that comes to those years being that fire chief of managing so many people. So Randy, please enjoy your retirement. We thank you for all that you've done, not only just for us when you was over the fire department, but thank you for what you've done for the city as a whole. And you've done it so graciously. And you've done it with, I used to say, with a smile. And so I thank you for that. Enjoy your family. Thank you again for what you've done. We appreciate it.
Thank you. All. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And so,
Can I go?
well, this is a report. So, but all the council afterwards, y'all are welcome to speak to him afterward. But he's not going yet. But I just want to take.
25 days.
That's right. so he's not leaving yet. Yeah, he's not leaving yet. But where I want to bring him forth now, because this is his last city council meeting that we will be recording and presenting. So that's why I want to bring him forth. There will be a time to celebrate his retirement. So thank you, Randy. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And so at this time, I want to pretty well have that to be the highlight of the mayor's report. There have been some great things that we've experienced over the holidays, and I do want to acknowledge this year, Christmas, all of our staff did get to stay home. There was no big freezes or anything. So as we're entering into a new year, I'm looking forward to us continue to work with our partners to leverage our partnership to continue to have the economic development that we're experiencing now. And as you can see, the project, things that's going on with the school district, developing that relationship to continue to work. And I'm with the first reading for the intersection there at Irby Street. It's been long due that we were looking forward to having a stoplight placed there. I know the state did some studies in the past and opted not to do one, but there's a curve there that I view as a community member coming out from Vista Street I deem not to be really safe, where you have to creep so far out. So with the addition now with Williams being built now, the new Vista, North Vista, two schools side by side, and also with some activity that will occur at Old Williams side, we will need that stoplight there. So I would like to thank the council for passing that first reading to dedicate those sites there. There are a lot of other things that we're having to occur in our city, but thank you to the citizens who have been so supportive and also critical. And it's okay to be critical, because we need that, because when you bring your viewpoint, I always say, when you bring an issue, bring a solution. So I would like to thank our citizens going into this year, that every time when I'm usually speaking to someone, they usually have an idea of how they feel the issues can be addressed. So to our citizens, thank you for the past couple of years, and we're looking forward to serving you coming in the future. That concludes my mayor's report, and thank you again, Mr. Osterman, for your service. Next, we'll proceed to our committee reports, and we'll recognize first our chair of our Business Development Committee to give a report.
The Business Development Committee had a special meeting on December the 6th, and therefore we opted not to have an official follow-up meeting after that. Our next meeting is coming up, I believe, the 18th. Is that right? Yes, on January the 18th. But again, just in the context of the committee reports, Mr. Osterman, Randy, thank you so much for the help you offered and extended during our committee meetings as well. Your input was very much appreciated, and we appreciate you. Thank you.
Okay. Next, we'll have a report from the chair of the Community Development Committee.
I too, we did not meet in December, but we look forward to what we have coming in the new year. We will meet this month with some new things on hand, and I too would like to say to Randy, I am not the easiest person, and I didn't always agree with some things, but overall, Randy, you've really done a good job, and I appreciate what you've done here, so we wish the best for you.
Thank you for that report. Next, we'll have a report from the chair of the Marketing and Public Relationship Committee.
All right, so we had our meeting on December the 20th, and we had Councilman Smith and Mayor Pro Tem Javali there. We're still working on our app. We're on schedule. We're rolling it out. It's coming soon. Y'all look for it. We're excited about it. Right now, we're marketing a couple things right now, which is the CARES program. So we'll get back onto our campaign awareness and our marketing to our community beginning this month. I would like to recognize Miss Martin on Sanborn Street, who turned 98 last month. And I also would like to recognize Miss Bethay on Marion Street, who turned 100 on Christmas Eve. We want to congratulate those folks. I'm sure their wealth of knowledge that they have accumulated along with their wisdom is definitely invaluable to our community, and is a very invaluable resource, and we are truly blessed to have them among us and in our communities. Also too, we will start back up our annual MLK March this year, and it will be 1 week from today. I would like to thank the city wholeheartedly for keeping our citizens safe and blocking off the streets and making sure that the walkers walk in peace. I want to thank, and also for the buses and the transportation back to their cars. We will start at 803 Sanborn Street. I'm sorry, 803 Oakland Avenue, which is the Shekinah Glory Seventh-day Adventist Church. We will start there at 9 o'clock, serve refreshments. 10 o'clock, we will start the march over the bridge to the Performing Arts Center, where we'll have a brief program. City buses will take folks back to their vehicles so they do not have to walk back. Also, I would like to thank Dr. Carter and Mr. Bud Simmons for allowing us to use the Performing Arts Center every year. Mr. Simmons actually calls me and makes sure that we're doing it. This is our 25th year. The last time we marched was in 2020, and we had several of our founding fathers, Mr. Billy, Nat Mitchell, and Freddie Jolly, to march with us, and they have since passed on, so we will do something special for them to show tribute for them. But we will continue to march this year, January the 15th. That concludes my marketing report. Thank y'all so much for everything y'all do, city staff and our community.
Thank you for that report. At this time, we hear from the chair of the Finance, Audit, and Budget Committee.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We did not meet in December. We met in early December, but that took care of our December meeting. But we did not meet in the end of December. We plan to meet in January. I think it's our opportunity this time to bring Tim Wilson from the Parks and Recreation Department to the Finance meeting to discuss some things. And that should be scheduled sometime maybe next week, I think. In addition, I want to take this time to thank Randy for his service. What I would say is this, Randy, and I was thinking about it over the weekend as well. You was very focused on infrastructure, and I was thinking about our retreat last time when we had Mayor Benjamin there, and he said, you have to be comfortable with the decisions you make. That you may not be there for the ribbon cutting, but knowing that you was instrumental in shifting the focus of council and having the support of staff to really invest in infrastructure. So 20 years from now, when Florence is still booming. Just know that you was there in the front line. So again, kudos to you. And that concludes my report.
Thank you for that report. At this time, we are prepared to enter into our executive session. With that particular session, when we get a motion, the following items will be discussed for a discussion of a matter related to Economic Development Project 30-4-70A5, and then item B, legal advice related to a personnel matter 30-4-70A2 and 30-4-70A1. Do we have a motion? So moved. We have a motion and a second. In discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Let know we'll be entering executive session. Council, if you need to take a 5-minute break, please do so.